Okay, so we finished our personal skills yesterday. So this is then where we are going to just recap quickly, which is important. Our personal skills is knowledge and skills, which includes the technical skills, management skills, conceptual skills, as well as your contacts and friends is the second one. And then the finance is the third one. Right, so let me just put this one on projector mode. Okay. We looked at the values and also the market economy and the global economy, where we looked at the need to trade and also to investigate investments in any country. And then the gap between rich and poor that we don't want to grow at all. All right, so next up today then, page 13 in your textbooks. For those who do have, please make sure that you get yours later today. It is available, so you can please just get those. Okay, so economic importance. This is one of the slides that is also very important that they love to include in the exams as well as the application thereof. Okay, so this is important for creating jobs or then employment, and this contribute to the wealth of the country. So we look at four specific economic importances here. The first one is developing of natural resources, and that should be sustainable. Now, if we sustainability means you will be able to use it in the next in the future as well. So we don't want to use everything and abuse it so there's nothing left for the future. We've got four factors here where we have the first one, capital, land, which is our natural resources, and then labor as well as entrepreneurship. The second one, create employment opportunities, where we have many socio-economical problems that relate or result in increasing in the crime, also in poverty in our country as well. So next one, opportunity, and then taking a risk of starting your business, where you can create jobs, where you also have flow of money, which will contribute to the economy as well as stimulate the economy. Now, important here, is then the business partners as well as SACI, which is then the South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, could be an example here of opportunities that you can link to. Okay, social entrepreneurs, they approach approach individuals, also groups, and startup companies to develop, fund, and implement solutions to the social, cultural, as well as the environmental issues. Then the third important factor here, increase in production. And here we have three sectors. The first one is a primary sector where we have raw material, which is normally minerals, like the gold and diamonds, copper, as well as iron, which we have mining in the mining industry, of which South Africa covers most of those. Then we have the forestry, where we have the wood cutting part of our primary sector, or then the primary materials. Okay, so next one is fishing. That could be freshwater as well as deep sea, which we also have in South Africa. The same with forestry. And then agriculture, where we have production of fruit, vegetables, as well as milk and many other products. So this is then growing of the raw material, primary. So you're going to take this raw material, then you are going to put it into the next process, which is a secondary process where things will be manufactured. So we look at furniture, we look at cars, we look at any products like fruit that can be canned or bottled, fruit, vegetables, frozen even, any of those products would be an end product. So the next sector then is the tertiary sector. So in the tertiary sector, this is now where the processed food will be distributed to any wholesalers, retailers, shopkeepers, transportation, as well as teaching, depending on what the product is. And then our services sector will include any personal services, things that we use on a daily basis, like education, maybe bank, medication or medical, as well as then professional, where we include any IT or any computer related, or then cyber security, maybe on your phone. Then the fourth one is free market system, and they depend on entrepreneurs. Now, with a free market system, you buy and sell without a direct influence of the government. So I always use the example here of the flea markets in South Africa. That could be your Friday market, your Friday evening market, Sunday markets, where the entrepreneur then set the price that is the best for them and then also their customers. It makes decisions based on the needs and wants. So the more people want a specific price, a product, then obviously the more the better the sales will be, so they could maybe link that to their prices as well. Okay, and then the prices determined by the supply and demand. Obviously, that is very important here, and that will then create competition, because at any flea market or free market, you will get a situation where there is more than one person selling a specific product. Okay, so on that note, I did get approval of the Valentine's Day market. So just a reminder again, I think I told you yesterday. So if you are interested in that, please just send me maybe on that email address that we have. Just send me a note or email so I can know who you are, what your name, surname, contact number, and as well as what you want to sell. And that is on the front of your notes, the EBM support at Boland College email. Okay. Right. So next up then is just another way to put these different sectors, so the primary, manufacturing, and then services, with more examples. And then just an example in the form of a product here. So the sectors will be then the primary sector, where you might have, in this example, you plant apples. So you're a farmer who then harvest these apples. They are sent to the secondary sector, which then will use these raw products in different forms. So they will either make apple juice, or they will dry apples, they will can it in the form of pie apples, or whatever the situation is. And then these products will then be sent to the tertiary sector, which is then the people who will distribute the products to the consumer at the end. Okay, so why do people start their own businesses? This is on page 19 in your textbooks. This is important. This is definitely one of the questions that you will see again, either in TM1 or in TM2 or in the national exams. They love to ask this question. So we look at the merits or the advantages of entrepreneurs. And we have 4 facts here. The first one is to gain control over your own destiny. So you know where you're heading. You know what you want to achieve. And also do the work that they like and reach their full potential. So if you want to be the owner of a CEO, or you want 5 small businesses in different towns close by, then that is your potential that you can actually reach. Reap unlimited profits. That's the third one. So here we look at you can pay your own salary here, depending on what you want to reach your salary scale. So you pay your own salary, you actually reap whatever you put into this business profit-wise. Then contributing to society and also getting recognition for efforts. Now, what I'd like to always mention here is if you are a small upcoming business, then obviously you want to contribute to some of the public sector places as well. Like you want to support a school. You know that this school, the primary school, this little soccer team doesn't have a T-shirt to play soccer when they play against other when they're in competition with other teams. So you sponsor them. So what do you do now? Yes, you take out money from your profit, but what you do is the contribution that you, or the money that's going to flow back to the business is way more, because you're going to be recognized with a good deed, with as a business that actually contributes to society and the local school. Does that make sense? Okay, next one, how to avoid pitfalls, and this is on page 22 then. So this slide is why they fail. It's just the next one, but let's just do the pitfalls first. Okay, so key to succeed or be successful is then obviously you start off with preparation of a very good business plan. We looked at the SWOT analysis. We looked at the brief description of the business, which is then the executive summary, also marketing, financial, and management plan. Then know your business. Know what kind of products you are going to sell and also make a profit from. Know the customers, your target market. Know exactly who they are. Marketing of the product, to make sure that you make use of the correct medium to actually reach your target market. And then also strengths and weaknesses within the business, and then identify any opportunities and threats with outside the business as well. Understand the financial statements. Here we have to know about the income statement, cash flow, as well as a balance sheet. Now, those ones we will definitely look at in Module 8. That is going to be part of your financial statements that you are going to study. And then learn to manage people effectively. That is the fourth one. So we said that staff is the most important aspect of any business, and you will have to make sure that people actually also know what their skills are, what their abilities are, that they are motivated, that they are trained, that they know what the rules and regulations are. And they will also then sign a code of conduct, because that is now part of your disciplinary action and also grievance procedures should it be needed. Which is part of your labor issues. Then understand the entrepreneurial transition, and this is where you have a difference between leadership and management, and then recognize entrepreneurial behavior. So that could also have an impact on the business. So if you have an entrepreneur in your business, make use of this person. Remember, they are value creators. And then long-term viability. So make sure that this business won't only last for 2 years, but that they are sustainable and viable, making money, contributing to your profit. And then as well as transition to visionary leadership. Right. This is then the pitfalls. The next one is then, no, this risk one we can just ignore. I must actually remove that slide. Okay, so the threats and values of entrepreneurship. Now, this is also additional information, so let's just go through this quickly. So what are traits or values of entrepreneurs? They are outgoing or extroverts. So they make others believe in them and in the business and in the services that they render. They enjoy being in public. So you are going to be a public figure because wherever you're going to walk around, people are going to say, oh, but you own this business. I saw you on Facebook, or I saw you on TikTok or on Instagram. So they are also willing to take the calculated risk to start a business. Optimistic, believe it can work, the business will be successful. Against all advice of your friends and relatives, it says, no, you are crazy, it's not going to work. Most very important and very successful businesses started in the because other people didn't believe in it, but you did. Optimistic. Self-actualization. This is a very strong drive to succeed, to achieve success, to be successful. Okay, meticulous. This is where you actually look at detail within a business, small things that will actually bother your customers, so that you can also include that. Then creative and innovative. This is a most important personality because you have to be up to date with what is going on around you, technology-wise, as well as what the latest trends are. Because then you might see a gap or a need in the in opportunity for you to then expand your business or then start a new business in. Leadership qualities, you must be a natural leader, and that is people that will then believe in you as a person, and then also be prepared to follow you and work together with you if they are your staff members. Okay, so why entrepreneurs fail? This is then on page 20, going to 21. There are 4 reasons. This is also important. So management incompetency. They are inexperienced. They don't have experience in being a leader or decision making. Then the next one, inexperience of the specific type of business that you started. You don't know the market. You don't know the whole concept. You don't know how to budget or how to purchase stock or how to sell products or to manage staff or stock even. Then the third one, which is very important, that is poor financial control. There are quite a few aspects here. You will see, I think mine is more complete than no, it's more or less the same thing. Shortage of work capital, or then exhaust resources. That will happen too early. So you want to buy the latest technology. You want to buy the latest or the newest, the most expensive equipment. So that when you start a business, it's not a good idea, because then you're going to waste money on things that isn't really needed. You can just as well go for products that are cheaper, or maybe secondhand, or even rent products before you just go and buy a lot of money and spend a lot of money on new products. Then customer credit. This is the pressure to sell on credit, because especially we all know we went through January just now. So don't ever do that. COD, cash on delivery, that is how you work. Then overinvestment in fixed assets. We've mentioned that as well. Maybe you think that you have to buy land now and build and buy equipment and so on. Okay, bad bookkeeping system. So your cash flow statement, you don't have anything existing like that. You have to know with the cash flow statement what money is coming into the business and how much money is actually going out. Then failure or poor planning, and this is where you create strategic plans of action. You have to start with a budget. You have to have a budget. You have to have a business plan. Okay, then stock shortages. You either have the wrong stock that customers don't want to buy, or the customers are dissatisfied with the quality. Now, customers are very forgiving. They will forgive you 3 times, but the 4th time they'll just go to your competitors, which is then you losing market share. Market share, we will look at module 3 next week. Okay, so no regular financial meetings to consider the financial position of the business. You have to know what the financial position of the business is, so that you are also aware of how much you spend and how much you have to spend and what profits you are making. 4th one here, changes in the business environment. Now, as soon as we have changes in any external environment as well as the business, it is going to have a direct effect on, or short-term effect on the business. Could also be long-term effect, where you might have to maybe change a supplier because the quality is not what you expect anymore. Okay, guys, this is then our module 1. I think we must do that case study on page 23. So that we can just get now. Let us do the summative assessment, question 3 on page 26, going on to page 27. Please do this. Try and do this on your own so that we can see if you understand and have knowledge of the module before we go on to the next one. Hospitality, I'm not sure if you have paper there in the class. Otherwise, we must just get paper quickly. Maybe hospitality, just something quickly. You might maybe want to come get a thin book for yourself, where as we do the activities, you can maybe just write the answers down so you can always refer back to that. Because with EBM, you are allowed to take in 3 resources for TM1 as well as TM2 at national exams. So the 3 resources will include then textbooks. It will include a script like one that you that are well organized, that you are writing in, like as I've mentioned just now, get something like that. And then the 3rd one will be a flip file that you will organize all your notes that I will send to you. Okay, so you can refer back to any of those then. Does it make sense? Okay, thank you guys. So I'm going to give you, what's the time now? See quickly. I'm going to give you, let us say 20 minutes. So 25 past, we are going to start marking this. Okay.